Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of People in Sales, Not Salespeople, a podcast where we analyze the person behind the salesperson. Today, we have a very special guest from one of Suade's partners, Readymode. I want to introduce you all to Jason. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing good, Ben. How are you?
Doing good, man. Cannot complain. I am both excited for this conversation because of your background and also to just give people really the lay of land of how Ready Mode and Suede can partner together. So, I like to go all the way back to the beginning when I start these podcasts with new people and ask them just their origin story, their origin sales story. What got you into Suede, Jason? Or what got you into sales, Jason? How'd you end up in this?
Yeah, and thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Sales. Sales and I go back. I mean, I could tell you about my first job, but really how I knew I was good at sales or was going to be good at sales and kind of where it was natural to me. I mean, even 10 years old, I was in the neighborhood. I'm like knocking doors. Hey, I'll walk your dog for $10. I'm hosting yard sales in the front lawn, trying to sell old stuff. Buying cases of Coca-Cola from the store and flipping it to my siblings, trying to,
Flipping it.
like have a little vending machine service at home. So I always knew that, I got in trouble a lot with school for just being that guy that's always talking,
Mm,
enthusiastic,
mhm.
class clown type of, entertaining people. And, that's when I got into telemarketing. When
Okay.
I was 14 years old, I got my first part-time job after school. I saw a telemarketing ad in the newspaper and I'm like, oh, let me go try it out. My mom thought I was crazy. I feel like everybody kind of has a stint in sales or a telemarketing gig at some point in their life, and then they realize really, really quick that they hate it. And
Mhm.
I realized that I loved it because I could just sit there and yam. And that's what I would get in trouble for. And then now here I am yapping on the phone, making money. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So I had a little stint in a call center for a bit. And then I went back to being a teenager and stuff. And, when I was 16 years old, I got like a different job back at a call center, selling car ads online, talking to, basically car ad sales online and just the call center life. And, there starting, basically as an SDR, I was an opener. I was just, making leads, setting appointments. And, I got really good at it. And I just loved talking to people and eventually kind of evolved in that role. And I was so good at it. They wanted me to train new people and run a shift of new people. So, basically there I was 16, 17 years old running a call center shift and
Right.
managing other, kind of part-timers and students and kind of young people and training them how to read the script and make the calls. And it was actually at that company that I met a couple of, the owner of the company and this other tech guy that worked there. This was hard phone days. We'd have a phone on the desk, you get a lead sheet, and you're calling number by number, one by one. And the tech guy and the owner came together and said, "Hey, we can simplify this process. Like, let's build a software that can integrate with this phone, basically our own CRM that can manage our lead inventory and
Right.
track our reps' calls and record the calls and use that for training and all this." And basically, they went out there and built this phone system CRM and we used it internally. And after, a couple months or a couple years of using it successfully, the owners and the tech guy kind of left and management change. And, we went on and, started our own little call center version of it. But they called me up a couple years later. I stayed in, close touch with the owner. He was a mentor of mine. And he
Mhm.
said, I think this was around like when I was 18 now. He said, hey, that software that we built, we actually integrated into one solution and we're selling it to other call centers. And it's just us right now. And we're lacking sales reps. I need you to
Yeah.
come I need you to come do what you do best to come set some appointments for me. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, cool. I'll do whatever you want, right? Like you're my mentor. I'll follow you. Like, what are you going to pay me? He's like, well, I can't pay you. We don't have any capital. We don't have any money. So just come and set some appointments and do some sales calls for me and we'll figure it out. I'm like, sure. Okay, whatever. So I'll off the kind of side of my desk part time. I'd go down to the office downtown Vancouver here and make some sales calls, set some appointments for the then CEO of the company. And, after about a month, I'm like, hey, look, you can't pay me. I can't do this forever. I got to go back and, go do my sales gig until you guys can figure this out. So, over the next couple months, he closed a few deals of mine and they brought on an investor and got some capital, called me back up. They said, hey, JP, I go by JP with people that know me. They're like, come, we can pay you now. We can give you a salary and commission. And I'm like, wow, salary. That's awesome because I'm just a diehard sales guy and I've always been on commission only. So I'm like, wow, salary and commission. That's amazing. And literally 10 years later, here we are. That is the
Mhm.
origin story of how I got into software sales, almost accidentally or organically into it, where I didn't set off to go and get into this industry. I kind of just was called upon by somebody that I knew who was in sales and taught me a lot about the game. Sat me down and when he hired me and I was 16, made me watch Boiler Room, made me watch Glengarry Glen Ross
Yeah.
sales movies and kind of formalize the sales career for me. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm good at. This is what I got to do. I just got to sell.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I naturally became the SDR of, at the time we were called Zenco.
Okay.
And then, it got to a point where I'm the SDR for my CEO and I'm setting up meetings, setting up demos, and to the point where he's over here, he's over there. I'm like, you know what? You're busy. I'm just going to close these deals down myself. Now I'm the AE. So
Right.
now I'm the account executive. All right. I
Right.
just promoted myself. I'm now closing my own
So let me
deals.
let me close them. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, you're too busy.
I
I'll just
need to
close these
see the fruit of
myself.
my labor. Okay. Yeah, I
Exactly. I'm like,
close.
I can do this. I can do this. And then it just became like, okay, well, now I need an SDR. So let me go
Mhm.
hire an SDR for me. And then it
Mhm.
was, oh, well, now I'm basically the sales manager. So now I'm
Mhm.
hiring people. And then they were basically like, hey, go build a team, go duplicate what we did and repeat, 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 build a repeatable sales process. And that's exactly what I did. Then I was the VP of sales, right? He gave me
Mhm.
that and said, we're going to make you a VP of sales when you're 19 years old and we're a 10-person company. Go for it, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, basically over these next 10 years, I spent trying to duplicate that same process, right? Find some young, hungry, motivated individuals, show them what's possible with tech sales, get them into this industry, and train them how to sell.
Yeah.
And then kind of blow them up, right? So, we always develop from within. Like all of my
Okay.
account executives right now started with me as SDRs and have been with me for years. And that's really what pushes me, what motivates me is I want to get as many people into this as possible. I really like the, sales people, uh, your slogan that you have here for this podcast, because I still feel like to this day, sales, we got a bad rep, like when
We have a
people
bad
think
rep.
about, they,
We
they
have a
think
bad
about,
rep.
I always, that, old sales guy Gil from The Simpsons. And he's the sleazy car salesman,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Uh-huh. They have a bad
that's what
sales
we
technique.
get. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, but there's sales careers where we're selling software, 100K deals, six-figure deals. Like
Yeah.
there's some real money to be made in sales, and you really don't need all the accolades. Obviously, sure, some degrees and education will help, but really all you need is the right personality, and you can
Mhm.
be successful in this job. And for me, who really lacked the college and university and accolades of the education world, this is where I shine. And that's kind of where I wanted to spread that message and, let everybody know the opportunities that are here in sales. And that's what I'm passionate about. So
Okay.
that's kind of like my origin story of how I went from just, a teenager working in the call center to, growing this business to where we are here today and, managing the team that I have and still just feeling like we're just getting started.
hmm Dude, I love that. I love your story. I love that ambition. And Ready Mode, even Ready Mode's origin story came from a problem, came from a pain that you
Yep.
guys are experiencing, came from just vision of an innovation product. And it's really cool to see the company grow and formalize and become something. So
Yeah.
Ready Mode's story is pretty awesome. And you're also unique. They called you back for a reason because you're
Yep.
good at your job.
Yep.
you
No,
know, you
and it was
and that
truly,
is abnormal.
you're right. It was a for us, by us type of solution, right? Because we built it for us. We used it. Like when we built this software, when we built Ready Mode, it was for the agent. I was the agent at the call center, and the job was, or the goal was to make my job more productive and to give
Mhm,
me more tools and to automate my processes. And for the call center manager, that was his goal, was to, how do I make my agents more productive? How do I give them more tools? How do I monitor their calls and make sure they're working and all
right.
this stuff, right? So we kind of just built our own solution and it was so good. And we're like, look, let's go sell this to other call centers. There's a bunch of
Mhm,
guys like us in this industry.
that could use what you all have built, so
Yep.
that's incredible. I definitely love that story as a whole, and let's dive into the beginning, man. So you, someone who's naturally good at talking, but some salespeople can get in trouble with that,
Mhm.
talking too much on these calls. So let's talk about training and the personal development you had to go through to become the salesperson you are today. So the question
Yep.
around that is, what hurdles did you have to overcome to become better at this sales thing?
Yeah. Actually, like some of the advice that I give, like the newer SDRs that are doing cold calling that I hire, is know when to shut up. Ask the right questions and know
Mhm,
when to shut up. Because
mhm,
if you just talk too much, you'll talk yourself off the cliff,
right,
right? You ask the right questions and let the consumer lead themselves there, right? Let them show you and tell you their problems. Don't shove it down their throat, right? Don't give them the answers. Let almost lead them to where they want to go. And I think that people are going to buy from obviously who they like the most, but who they think can help them solve their problems. And the hurdles that I had to learn in the beginning, especially, was failure is a part of this.
mhm,
You're going to fail. Not every pitch is going to work. Not every cold call is going to work. You're not going to win every deal, right? And there was many times where, I would be doing my, 200 calls a day, cold calling, and get told that is the worst sales pitch I've ever heard. Get a real job.
oh
And I
man.
would, the next call, use the exact same pitch, exact same tone, got a meeting out of it. So it just
Mhm,
goes to show that, like, you can't let it deter you. You can't let it discourage you. Like sales, no matter what, whether you're having a good day, a bad day, you're happy, you're sad, things at home are good, not good, doesn't matter. Your dog died yesterday. You have to keep the same mentality. You have to have that personality. You cannot let it deter you. You have
mhm,
to keep going and you have to really have that positive charisma and just be trying to help your customers. I'm
yeah,
trying to help. I want to make your life easier. I want to help you. How can I do that? Not
mhm,
necessarily you telling them how, but getting them to explain it to you. How can I help? What are your problems? And
right.
then you lead them to the solutions.
Right. At the end of the day, all salespeople should be problem solvers and problem
Correct.
finders,
Yep.
not just product pushers.
Yep.
You can't just go out and talk at your customer, even if you do know their problems. It's really important for them to vocalize
Yep.
and internalize their pains. And once they do that, like you said, they're going to sell themselves, quote unquote.
Nobody wants to be told what their problems
Right.
are.
No.
But when they have problems, you best believe they want to talk about it. They want help, right? They want to
Mhm.
talk about their products, therapy, like shit.
Yeah.
They want to
Yeah.
talk about their problems. They don't want to be told what their problem is, right? So,
And how to solve
you
it
know,
and all this stuff. And da,
exactly.
da,
You got
da.
to lead them there, right? And then ask the right questions,
Mhm.
and that's what will surface the right answers.
Yeah. And on that note, asking the right questions and training people, let's talk about the importance of sales scripts.
Yeah.
Walk me through your thoughts on sales scripts and their importance.
Yeah. I think that it is important, but you almost have to be prepared. Like it's not everything's going to go according to the script,
Mm,
right? Like, yes, of course, have the basics, have the fundamentals, have your introduction, right? Like stick to that, but also be prepared that, it was funny. I get told sometimes that I don't have as good as a plan as I should. And I'm like, well, things never go according to plan. So why would I
well, have a
plan
good
that
plan.
far
Yeah.
ahead? Like part of the plan is not having to plan. Like
Hmm.
I'm winging it almost sometimes, right? So you just have to like understand that you have the base script that you got to stick to, right? You got the the pains, the discovery, right, that you need to get from this conversation. Now, how you get there is not always going to be the same route because you also
Hmm.
have that. I'm trying to get into my pitch, and that guy's like, hurry up. What do you got? You got 5 seconds, like,
Right.
or this phone. It's time to
Right.
revert from the plan, right? It's like, wait,
Hmm.
you got to
Tell
have
them
a
what you
plan
want.
B, plan C, plan,
Exactly.
like you got to be able to have that 5 second pitch, that elevator pitch, that 2 minute, right? Like, no, he really has got questions. So, you got to make it clear and you don't want to waste people's time. So you need to be considerate of the consumer, considerate of their time. Hell, if they're answering the phone and they're like saying, okay, come on, give it to me. What do you got?
Right.
They're doing you a service there, right? Like, don't
Hmm.
waste their time. So get to the point, but at the same time, don't waste their time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. That's
it's
good.
not it's easier said than done, but with the right practice, you'll get there. And
Yeah. Yeah. Right
knowledge
practice
and
and
the right script, though.
the right
That's where a good
script, the right
script and
messaging.
rebuttals and objections. Yep,
Hmm.
the right messaging. So
Yeah.
that's
And
where, and as long as you can keep it simple, keep it sweet and simple. That
hmm
KISS acronym. Remember your sales acronyms, guys. As
uh-huh.
long as you can stick to the basics there, you'll be good.
It should be good. Yeah. And I like the point about not wasting people's time. When people pick up the
Yeah,
phone, not necessarily that they're expecting something, but don't go dreary and monologue and talk, 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 talk. You got to
yeah,
understand how to open, how to make a quick crafted message, and then asking the
yeah,
right questions to really just spark a good conversation that they're going to remember and want to show up to the next meeting. Because even if you book the meeting,
yeah.
who knows if they're going to show up? Maybe they're just trying to get you off the phone. Right.
I get sales calls, and it's funny because when like a sales guy gets a sales call, I do my best to not lead them on unless I really want to test them, right? I want to like give them some rebuttals and stuff. But it's funny because when they call me, I'm like, look, I don't want to chit chat. I don't want to build rapport. I don't want you to tell me about how you love the city I'm from. Cut to the chase. What is it? What do you want?
There's a right way to pitch the right person. If you're calling a prospect who is the VP of sales, you're going to have to use a different script than if you're
Yeah,
calling the HR manager.
yeah.
Um, awesome. So, couple questions. When if a company is having trouble bringing in deals, what is the first thing that they should look at to determine where the problem is?
I would say you got to look at the wins. Right?
Okay.
Look at the ones that you have won. Look at your best customers. Where did they come from? Where did you find them? Where do they hang out? Where do they go? Where is their community? I would say. Some of the biggest customers that we had, we got from back doing the cold calling. We would go and find where they're hiring agents. We would call those ads and kind of work our way up the ranks and try to find out who the manager is, and then the manager, who's the owner, and who runs the call center, and yeah. So I would say review the wins. Go back through your biggest wins of the quarter, your biggest of the month, the year, whatever it is, and try to recreate that and do more.
You understand who's buying your product and why, where'd they
Yeah.
come from, what was their pain point, all that. I like that.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
then on the same vein, if you're struggling to close deals, what's the
Yep.
first thing you look at?
Review your calls. I tell everybody, go back and listen to your calls at least once a week. Spend an hour listening to yourself. Listen to your demo back, good or bad, whatever it is. Just listen to yourself. So many times, when you go and you hear your own voice and you're like,
Mhm.
oh my, well, we're gonna play back this podcast. I'm gonna listen to myself and just, ugh. Right? Like all the
Always awful.
hums. You're gonna get it. You're gonna
Mhm.
listen back to yourself and you're gonna say, damn, I could do this better. I could do that better. I could say less this. I can talk slower. I can
Mm.
pause after what I'm saying. So always go back and review your calls. and asked for advice. Like, as the senior VP of sales, I tell everybody, you're an SDR that just started last month, send me a call anytime. I might take
Hmm.
a few days, but I will review it, get on a call with you, and give you some feedback. And that's, send me your worst call, send me your best call, and just review it. We actually used to do that. We used to put it up, listen, everybody in the room, listen to our calls back, and
Yeah.
just say, this is where you messed up.
Mm.
This is where you lost the deal. And so many times, even just a few weeks ago, I had an SDR that did that. He's like, look, I dropped the ball in this call. The client's the right thing, and then you get nervous and you don't say the right thing. And, it's the spur of the moment, the adrenaline's going, and you're
Yeah.
like,
I'm
damn,
about to
and you just,
close.
you fumbled it. And you're just like,
Uh-huh.
damn. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You see right here, that's where you lost him. He gave you the in. He asked you, okay, so like, what about like whatever it is? Like, what is this? And you just went on this ramble about nothing. And I'm
Hmm.
like, that's when you lost him. I'm like, call him back and say, look, I dropped the ball. My VP reviewed the call. I just wanted to say, here's the answer you were actually looking for. And he did it. And again, got him a meeting. The guy's like, wow, great job for calling back and correcting yourself. Like, it's never over, guys. Like,
Hmm.
it's never done. Again, even people that, used to tell me that's the worst sales pitch ever, fine. Or I already have a solution, fine. I'm like, cool, I'll call you back in 2 weeks like it never happened. You won't even remember. And
Hmm.
this time I'll have some notes on how to approach it. I got to be quicker with it, or he already has a solution. So go into it that like we're a better option, right? So it's never over. You can
Yeah.
always call back, in a month or weeks or
Right.
whatever, and
Hmm.
try it again with some more information and better artillery.
That's good. Never just throw them out the database. Companies change, people's
Yep.
experiences change. Everything is changing day to day. So
Yep.
make sure to
That's
call
what I would
people.
tell a customer. I'd be like, you're going to want this eventually, right? Like, you're
Hmm.
good now, but you're going to want this. And I'll be here when you're ready. I'm not going anywhere. So, and that's a good, I actually just gave that feedback to an SDR today when he was like, look, what about when somebody already has a solution, they hang up on you? I'm like, look, tell them, well, if you have the chance to tell them and they'll listen to you, it never hurts to have a backup option. Call me in the future.
That's
I'm not
good.
going anywhere. Keep
That's
me in your
good.
back pocket. When things go wrong or you get a big invoice or you're not happy with the service, you call me. I'll be ready. Ready mode. It's right there in the name. I'm always ready. You drop that line, they're going to like it. They're going to like it. They're going to respect it. They're going to take your information and whatever. Worst case, you call them back in a month. I'll check in on you. No big deal.
Hmm. Nice. Awesome. So two more questions here for you. Really love these insights. What does culture and sales mean to you?
Everything. Okay. Because sales is tough. It can get tough. You got to enjoy the people that you're doing it with. It's all like, again, even in that first call center that I ever worked at, I'm still friends with some of those people to this day. Right. I mean, actually, that culture that we had led me to this job because that mentor that I worked for always had me in mind. Right. They knew the work ethic that I had. I was a part of that culture and helped create that culture. And nobody wants that bad apple on the team. Right. Like, I don't know if we can swear on here, but like, don't be an asshole to your peers, right? Like,
Hmm.
there's competitive relationships that you have. You want to beat each other. You want to make each other look bad for sure, but you want to do it the right way. You don't
Yeah.
want to cheat the game, right? You don't want to steal leads or, we've had these kind of characters. I'll get them right off. I don't care if you're a top performer. If you're taken from the energy of the culture and the energy of the
Hmm.
team, you're
That's
out.
good.
This is
That's
a
good.
unit. We are a team and we're trying to win a championship here.
Hmm.
So that's where it's like everybody's got to know their role and play it. I need you to play point guard. I need you shooting guard. Clear the way. LeBron's here. Let LeBron drive, right? Like,
Hmm.
don't get in his way. Like, we are a team. We're trying to win a championship, and that's going to better all of us because if we're more efficient, marketing's going to spend more money on leads. We're going to get more leads. We're going to grow this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Culture is important for that fact. You are a team. You are a team. You're not individuals. And your goal is to work together, support each other, and be the best system be the best force that you could be. So love those insights so much. Thank you so much for hopping on with me, Jason. I'm looking forward for the audience to hear your takes on various aspects within sales and scripting and all of that. Your story and Readymode story is inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. I would just like to say that Readymode and Suade are partnering because we believe that you need both good data, a good dialer, and a good script to be successful on a cold call. And that's what the Readymode and Suade partnership is gonna produce and going to entail. So we're working hard together, and we're creating some customer testimonies. Some of Readymode's call centers are going to start using Suade, and we're going to get a lot of good feedback and insights here soon. So thank you again, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Jason, for hopping on, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.